Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios Brisbane on 102.1 FM and broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Z Games. With 10 years experience and over 500 episodes, Z Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out? Message us on Facebook at ZEVGamesAU.
My name is Evie.
And I'm Zahra.
Woo! You're listening to Z Games. It's another big Wednesday. I don't know what I was going with there.
It's a Wednesday.
It is
a Wednesday.
Correct.
Yeah. And we're going to make it a big Wednesday.
Yeah. A capital W.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Big W.
Big W. Oh, let's go there. That's what we should do every Wednesday. You look surprised as you said Big W. You're like, oh, that's a thing.
I forgot there was a place, and then I said it, and I was like, oh, that's a place.
We could go there.
We could.
I mean, I prefer Big K.
Big K's pretty good. I also like the good old Tajay.
Tajay. Yeah, Tajay's not bad. I'm pretty sure Tajay is closing down.
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're being like fully merged into Kmart or something.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I'll give you a moment.
I am shocked.
Totally unrelated to anything that this show's about, which is games. Might add.
Video games.
Video games.
Not,
which
shops.
retailers are available. Anyway, sorry to upset anyone who's into Tajay. I'm fairly confident. Don't take my word for it. I was reading something on it recently, so probably follow that up with Dr. Google.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Aside from that, Z Games, best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture up in here. Tonight we're going to have some news. It's been a big week. There's a lot happening. It's been a big week every week lately, which is good.
A bit hectic with the news.
Yeah, I'm not strapped for content, which is good.
Yeah.
Doesn't take me so long to dig up something. Yeah, so we've got the week in gaming news. Zahra, our wonderful Zahra of Z Games, is reviewing their very first game this evening. Yeah, P.A.M.E.L.A. So hang in there for that.
Super excited.
I'm very excited. I've read the review as well, so I'm keen.
It's Evie approved.
There's a stamp. I'm gonna make a stamp. There's also going to be another review later in the evening from Paul, who's kindly recorded that. It's pretty cool. I have totally forgotten the name of that game. Phantom Covert Ops, that's it. I was going to say The Phantom, but that's not a game.
That's not. Could be.
Yeah.
But it's not the game that Paul reviewed.
No, it's not. Yes. So that will be later. But yeah, before we get into anything, before we get into news, I do want to mention that I have just finished playing Borderlands 3. Yeah, I know it came out a while ago. But it was 54 hours of me playing to actually get through the main campaign.
Yeah, there's quite a lot to it.
Mm-hmm. That's why it took me a while, because I play lots of other things as well.
Yeah.
And I would go through binge phases of Borderlands, and then I'd, get over it, and then I'd just play something else, and I'd come back. So it's taken me, I clocked 54 hours when the campaign finished, and I was like, finally. I did it.
Did you enjoy it?
I did, and I have a huge crush on Tannis.
Understandable.
You played Borderlands 3?
I haven't. I just hear a lot of other people who have played it. So I feel like I sort of understand it.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting world, and I never played Borderlands 1 or 2.
Really?
So I'm brand new to the whole series. And I thoroughly enjoyed. And I'm glad I've come in at this point too, because there's a lot of DLCs that have come out, and I've purchased them. I'm playing them as well because they're great. I do quite enjoy the story. I do quite like the plays on pop culture they have as well. And there's a particular character called Moxie, who everyone seems to like fan out over and do a lot of fantasy fan art of.
I don't know too much. I'm not an expert on Borderlands, but I do know that I love Moxie.
Yes, as everyone loves Moxie. I'm not really that into her. I'm really into Tannis, because Tannis is super oddball. Yeah. Says really, really strange stuff. And she's super direct in her way of being, and I really enjoy her as a character. And after 54 hours of getting to know all these characters and playing through the story and everything, because it's such a huge campaign, I really, really had an affinity for these characters. Really good story. Haven't played Borderlands 3. I can recommend as a AAA game that you're going to want to spend a lot of hours on. Get Borderlands 3. That's cool.
See if you can beat Evie's 54 hours.
Well,
That's a challenge.
yeah, if you can do the campaign in less. Oh, look, I did side quests as well. I wasn't just like the main campaign. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing. Okay, I'll do that. Oh, I'm not leveled up enough for that, so I'll have to do some side quests over here or something. I don't know.
Understandable.
Yeah. Anyway, look, that's a complete tangent. Let's listen to some news. Let's do that. This week in gaming news, big announcements from Ubisoft Forward. Due to COVID-19, the typical E3 press conference was hosted online, where Ubisoft revealed more information about its biggest upcoming games, such as Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion, Hyperspace, and Far Cry 6. Ubisoft also announced that there will be another showcase later in the year. They also tweeted before the show started that certain challenges the company is currently facing will not be addressed directly in the show. That tweet is referring to the resignation of a number of Ubisoft employees under investigation for sexual assault and abuse. CEO Yves Guillemot has promised massive changes for the company and intends on appointing a head of workplace culture, as well as creating a position for a head of diversity. Some of the announcements from Ubisoft Forward event are Far Cry 6 launches next year on the 18th of February, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be available on November 17th this year, Hyperscape is now in open beta as of the announcement, and Watch Dogs Legion's launches on October 29th. Steam has added community reviews to its homepage. Steam has, for many years, displayed reviews from players as part of its user experience. Now, however, Steam will feature reviews that are rated as helpful on the front page. This is supposed to be a new way to assist players with making recommendations for new or popular games. These helpful reviews are called community recommendations. According to the Steam blog post, there will be more features coming to Steam over the coming months, including this new concept of micro-trailers, which is going to offer video previews of games in shorter periods of time. PAX Australia and US are launching its first online global gaming event. Since so many events are cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic, broadcasting online is the next best thing. Co-founder of PAX, Jerry Holkins, said in a statement, PAX Online will recreate that shared experience, along with everyone's other favourite elements from game reveals, exclusive hands-on experiences, the chance to hear from and speak with your favourite game developers, journalists, as well as content creators, and so much more. PAX Online will be the ultimate virtual gaming experience, with PAX merchandise remaining available for purchase. The best thing is the event will provide fans with 24-hour-a-day content for 9 days, all of course free of charge. Big July sales for games. PlayStation 4 are having big sales on the PlayStation Store this month as end of financial year comes around. PlayStation have discounts on over 240 games, bundles and add-ons for some of the best PS4 games, including Bloodborne, Monster Hunter World, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and a lot of Assassin's Creed. If you'd like to check out the full list as well as some information on today's news, head over to the Zed Games Facebook page at ZedGamesAU. That's all this week in gaming news. Well, that's interesting news. I just got a message from Paul, actually, that it's not Hyperscape, it's Hyperspace. My correction there.
It's very easy just to swap 2 letters around.
As Paul said, it's a really name. I bleeped out there. So, yeah, okay, cool. There's my correction. Boy, there's a few corrections of me in the news recently. Am I not paying attention? Oh no, he just said it's the wrong way around. So that means it is Hyperscape.
Thanks,
Ignore
Paul.
that. Ignore what I just did.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Well, speaking of Ubisoft, but I don't know. I was talking to Zahra about this just before, and I'm fully keen for these games. Like, super keen for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
Very, very keen for Watch Dogs Legion. That looks really cool as well. Don't know if I will buy that necessarily. I'm more keen in Assassin's Creed. But I have like a real sour taste in my mouth with Ubisoft at the moment. So I was saying to Zahra, it's like, yeah, I really want to play your games and I really want to be hyped about what you're creating, but I'm kind of mad at you.
I think if I bought any of these games, I'm gonna get like a marker and just kind of like scribble over the Ubisoft logo, just like.
I'll play it, but I won't be happy about it. Yeah, that's kind of the feeling that I have, and I'm not sure if that's going to resonate with other people as well, given the circumstances. But EA looks pretty good right now.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a year.
It has been a year. It's definitely shaken things up in the industry. It's definitely putting things into perspective. I mean, something else that's also interesting is these micro trailers that Steam are talking about, featuring, obviously coming out as a new concept in the next however many months that they're updating the Steam homepage. Micro trailers. How short of a attention span do you think people have now? Like, obviously, micro trailers. Trailers are a shortened version of things anyway, aren't they?
Their trailers are already pretty short. Like, movie trailers, obviously, they're like a minute, maybe.
30 seconds to a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
But video game trailers, like the ones that you see on YouTube especially, they're like 20 to 30 seconds. If that.
So what's a micro trailer?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, are they just going to like beam the information directly into our brain and like we see like a little QR code thing and our brain's just like, okay, absorb information. Now we know what the game is.
Yeah, you instantly learn all the mechanics of the game via brain scan.
Yes.
That's a micro trailer right there. Wow. Yeah, I don't know.
It's just I guess we'll just have to see.
I'm happy with these community recommendations that they've mentioned here.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. And obviously that's something that Steam are known for, is obviously that anyone can write a review, everyone gets a say in the experience of the game, which helps obviously create a good positive culture in terms of letting players know what kind of experience, whether it's a positive or negative experience before purchasing something.
But it is difficult, like, going through the reviews and knowing which one is, I guess, a legit thoughtful review and not just like somebody just kind of mad about being bad at the game.
And that's why this is going to be great, because this is going to be, in quotations, helpful.
Yeah.
So, you know, we hope that if it's an algorithm, the algorithm pulls out something relevant to highlight for that as a recommendation. Yeah. If not, it will. It might be a person. So I don't know. I have no idea how this is going to work or what's considered helpful, but we'll
if
see.
It does work, be pretty neat.
Yeah,
really would appreciate that.
Same with I guess any kind of review on any platform, really.
Yeah.
It's gonna be helpful. Nobody knows. Yeah, okay. And last thing I'll mention from the news, which is really cool, is PAX Australia and US going online, and it's going to be free. So if anyone has ever wanted to attend PAX and they haven't been able to for whatever financial reason, you now have no excuse. Provided you have internet, you can get there.
I mean, even if you don't have internet, you could probably go to your public library.
That's true.
And just like
check it all out.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this goes. If you'd like any more information on what's happening with PAX and how to get this PAX Online experience, as well as anything else in the news, we do post it on the Zed Games Facebook page every week. So if you head over to there at ZedGamesAU, you will be able to see, hopefully, a post that has come up with the news, and you can click on that link and check out more information on everything. So, Zahra.
We found out what micro trailers are.
Yeah, micro trailers are just GIFs. It's a little bit of an exaggeration that there was obviously, inserting of trailers into brains and information and such. But
that was a little bit of a reach on my end. But in my defense, I had no idea what a micro trailer could be.
Well, I thought of microtransactions, but I thought that was just way too weird leap. So we'll just go back to GIFs and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. We'll pretend nothing happened.
Yeah.
Carry on as we were. Zahra, you have a review.
I do have a review. It is for a game called P.A.M.E.L.A. Mm-hmm. It is on the PC, and we'll just jump right into it.
Do it.
You wake up from cryosleep. It's dark, with flashy monitors. A gentle voice speaks out to you, from P.A.M.E.L.A. A kind AI who explains, her city Eden, a utopia where petty crime was a rare event, has fallen. Her people infected by a horrific disease. They tore each other apart, tipping a paradise into darkness. But you are her hope, a human free from the disease, kept in stasis. She has woken you up to find out what happened and to put an end to it. A first-person survival horror game, P.A.M.E.L.A forces you to keep moving, keep seeking, and to keep on alert. With a dark atmosphere, minimal information, and constant danger, this isn't a game for the faint of heart. P.A.M.E.L.A will tell you the controls and a bit about the items you find, but it doesn't hold your hand, and it can be quite brutal. Every encounter could be your last. With dozens of tools and resources you can find and utilize, it takes everything you can to survive. You'll have to look after your thirst and hunger meter, but also the electricity and the buildings you explore. Resource management is an extremely valuable skill. You'll also find yourself hacking, scavenging, hiding, and fighting. It's a lot to keep track of. But even when you die, the respawn system allows you to upgrade and improve your character. With time, you can unlock new areas in their cryopods, so you don't lose as much progress. And the game encourages you to keep going, with tantalizing bits of information, giving you insight into what happened and just who P.A.M.E.L.A is. The audio experience is quite minimal. It's very quiet, except for when it isn't. That's when I know it's time to be cautious. Muttering and heavy breathing signals that I need to start coming up with an alternative route. Heavy metal footsteps make me jump. But these are more subtle sounds. I find myself relying on my ears more than my eyes at times. It's a very tense experience, and the music that does play is to highlight the environment and what you're seeing. Upon my first attempt, I was confused, overwhelmed, and just a little bit terrified. My first death was sudden and took me by surprise. During my second attempt, I had a better idea of what I was doing and what I needed to do. I went even further than before and became more confident in my actions, but also more cautious. Fighting was something to avoid. This death honestly hurt a bit, but I was determined to do better. During my third attempt, I'd found my stride, figured out the pattern, and I was making speedy progress. Not all of it was lost, but I had to keep pushing forward to keep the game moving. I had set goals for myself, making more cautious decisions, even taking the effort to find a safer detour if an enemy was in my way. I was having fun, enjoying the story, and I needed to find out exactly what happened. I was hooked. That's not to say it was a perfect game. I ran into frustrating glitches where the UI, enemies, pathfinding was laughable at times, and some minor controls would just stop working. At times it felt like I was playtesting. But it is a very compelling game, and I find myself thinking about it a lot. Bugs aside, it's easy to see why fans of the game are so devoted to it. It's interesting, challenging, and a very rich world, all for you to uncover. Now, one of the things I've noticed is that the team are constantly updating the game. I actually had a very frustrating time with bugs on my first run, but within a week, a lot of those bugs had been resolved with an update. So this is a studio that cares about the health of their game.
That's cool. I'm just, as you're describing your game experience, I'm actually watching a little bit of a gameplay walkthrough on my laptop here. And it's it's really well aesthetically done, right? Like,
yeah.
There's obviously a lot of work done into the visuals of this game. And I like how you as the player have sort of like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist.
Yeah, it's quite a funky little device.
Attached to your left arm.
And it's literally called an arm.
It's just
the
arm.
thing.
Okay, because it's really cool, and it's got like you can flick your arm out towards you, like you would check your watch, for example, and then the desk would sort of open up in front of you, and you've got all your stats and your abilities, or what, like a meter as well, all the meters that you were talking about, and you can scan things. And so I've noticed that there's this mechanic there that you scan like something that might be locked, and you have to like tap a button.
You have like a sort of a hacking mechanic where there's sort of there's two different versions of it. There's a reaction thing where it's like the wheels spin around and you have to click a button to hit the wheel at the right moment, and there's also a logic one where you have to match up a whole bunch of squiggles in order to make it look the way it's meant to, and that's how you get into locked boxes.
Right, and that's sort of, to give a bit of an example, that's sort of similar to like in the new Spider-Man on PlayStation 4,
Yeah.
how they've got to change the frequencies to hack into the
Yeah.
police network, where you're sort of like tuning. It's kind of like that. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's a nifty concept. A lot of the UI as well is in the game, so it's diegetic and not like displayed on
Yeah.
your screen. It's hard to explain, but all your information is in your arm, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's not displayed on your screen for you, so you've always got a health bar or whatever. It's all the game will signal to you these things.
Yeah, you
which
do
is
get a little bit of a cue if like your character gets very hungry or very thirsty, or is in bad condition. But it's just, I guess, sort of the same way that your character would verbally be like, "Ow, that
Yeah.
hurt."
and that's obviously all designed to make this experience as immersive as possible.
Yeah.
It looks cool. Where can we get it?
You can get it on Steam.
It's also on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, I'm pretty sure as well.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's also it's new, so it's obviously a work in progress. As you're saying, the devs are updating it every week. So I remember speaking to you originally, and you were saying that you were quite frustrated with the game. It was very buggy and very, very irritating. And then since then, the devs have actually made a lot of patches and fixed stuff up, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously they care about the game, which is what you want. Actually, I take that back. It's not on PlayStation, Xbox One. It is only on Mac, Linux, and Windows PC.
So computers.
So, yeah.
All right.
Computer only. Computer.
But yeah, you can find it on Steam. It's a fun game. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it's also survival horror, so I'll give people a little bit of a warning that it is a little jump scary, maybe, and quite dark in some parts.
You will jump. It's very spooky.
For people like me, I thought I'd mention it because this is not a game that I want to play personally, but if you like scared, scared, it's all
you will
for
be
it.
sort of like on the edge of your seat, and just if you hear any noise, I heard a footstep and I jumped out of my seat too. But it does set up the atmosphere really well for that.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Zahra, for that review.
No worries. I'm doing a thumbs up.
Yep. Everyone can hear that thumbs up. It's happening. We are now about to be privileged to hear the voice of Paul. And Paul has reviewed a game called Phantom Covert Ops. So let's have a listen to his experience with the game.
Phantom Covert Ops is the worst named video game since Horizon Zero Dawn. You couldn't get much more generic if you tried. It does have a distinct hook, however. Phantom Covert Ops is a VR Metal Gear Solid inspired stealth game played entirely in a kayak. That is why we will now only refer to this game by its true name, Stealth Kayak. Stealth Kayak comes from the UK-based developer N-Dreams, who specialise in VR games, and this represents their most ambitious project to date. You play a covert operative, a phantom, if you will. More importantly, however, you are in a kayak, and you will never leave the kayak. Did you befall some unfortunate accident that left you kayak bound? It's never explored, but get used to splashing around in your one-person paddle boat. You and your kayak, who I can only assume is the player's closest friend, are extremely well equipped for dealing with any scenario, coming equipped with a standard pistol, sniper rifle, machine gun, night vision goggles, and of course a paddle for splashing about in the water. As a VR setup goes, it's extremely well laid out, with all equipment kept within arm's reach, accessible at a moment's notice, and everything works as you would expect. You'll have to squint through one eye to use the scope of your rifle, physically throw items to distract or blow up enemies, and of course grip with both hands in order to paddle about for the exciting kayaking action you've come for in the first place. Exploring the world in a kayak may not be everyone's first choice for locomotion, but it makes a ton of sense in practice. Stealth Kayak is a seated experience, which makes it very comfortable to play, and the action of paddling is reasonably realistic. While playing the game, I noticed I had the same tendency to veer to the right as I do when operating a real kayak, so let's mark that one up for authenticity. Despite the strength of the concept though, every person I had play the game experienced some minor level of motion sickness. If you don't have strong VR legs, you may want to tread cautiously. Throughout its short campaign, about 3 to 4 hours, you'll explore a flooded Cold War naval base with the goal of stopping the big boss, in this case, General Nikolai Zurov, who was voiced by the legendary David Hayter. That's not the end of the Metal Gear inspiration, however. The world design and colour palette borrow much from the classic Stealth game, with some areas looking eerily familiar to spots from Shadow Moses Island. One big problem is the story is incredibly dry. For all the Metal Gear inspiration, there is a total lack of the absurd that you would get from Kojima, which would seem perfect for, and I'm sorry to harp on about this, a stealth game played in a kayak. Each level is somewhat linear, which will have you dodging some of gaming's most visually impaired guards, operating some basic mechanisms, and of course, splashing around in the water. You'll discover some paths that are blocked to the player, tantalising them to come back later with appropriate equipment, but since the game is a linear level-based affair, you'll only get that opportunity when replaying parts of the game. There is quite a bit of replayability though, encouraging players to move fast and silently to improve their score, and even a mode that flips the goal and encourages you to go full-on action game. In many ways, the game is more suited to action. The player is loaded with weapons and ammunition, but you are discouraged from engaging with the enemy. You don't really need them either, as the game is incredibly easy, and being anywhere other than a spotlight means you're practically invisible. You'll generally solve most areas by moving between patches of reeds until you're forced to distract a guard by shooting an interactive object which are highlighted in the environment by using the night vision goggles. It's a bit simple, and you're not often challenged to think on your feet. Visually, the game is simple and striking, selling the fantasy well except for the lack of water effects. For a game that focuses so much on movement through the water, there is very little in the way of water effects. Passing boats don't cause a wake, and you won't be splashing anyone as you paddle by them in the dead of night. Since the game is based in one location almost entirely at night, there is also a lack of visual variety, which can get a bit drab. The sound is excellent, with lots of conversations to eavesdrop on, sounds of the water and satisfying weapon sounds. Music is what you'd expect from a stealthy military game, but it suits the mood and often makes situations more tense and exciting than they really are. Stealth Kayak is a solid game that fails to really leverage its incredible concept, and like many story-based VR games, you'll get more out of it if you're willing to play along and act the part, as the game itself is probably a bit too shallow. Phantom Covert Ops is available exclusively on the Oculus Store for the Rift S and the Quest.
Thanks, Paul, for Stealth Kayak.
Stealth Kayak. Honestly,
Out now. No, sorry.
I kind of want to play Stealth Kayak. I've forgotten what the actual name of the game is.
Just to preface, it's Phantom Covert Ops, but Stealth Kayak definitely much more selling it.
I feel like the water effects kind of thing could be solved by having
water effects.
a friend or a family member sort of sit in front of you with a little spray bottle.
Yes.
Just like a little bit of a tss every now and again.
We'll do a replay of this, Paul, if you're listening, and we'll bring a spray. We'll bring a water pistol.
We'll also get like a little bucket, like a cup of water, just for the big splashes.
Yes.
Yep.
Anyway, it was a fantastic review. Also, so that's Paul's second review. He's just flying through them. Unbelievable.
It's a great review. Good reviews.
It is good.
Shout out to Paul.
Shout out to Paul. All right. It's actually getting remarkably close to the end of our time.
Really?
Here for the evening. Yeah, I know. What do you know?
Time flies by when you're having fun, I guess.
Yeah. When you're listening to Stealth Kayak and other such things. Yeah, it's coming to the end. I was going to ask you, though, what have you been up to? Because, we're doing this rotating roster in studio.
Yeah.
What have you been playing, aside from P.A.M.E.L.A?
I've been playing Pokemon. Pokemon Shield specifically, because I played through Pokemon Sword, and then I decided I wanted to play the DLC, but I needed actually my own copy of the game because I was borrowing my friend's copy of Pokemon Sword. So I had to play through Pokemon Shield, and this has been my couple of weeks, as well as Animal Crossing, a little bit of Monster Hunter.
Just a bit of everything.
Yeah, just like whatever the mood takes me. Been
Life
getting
of
a bit
gamer.
of a craving for Skyrim lately, but that always crops up every 6 months.
Skyrim is such a large game. You could probably just play it and discover something new anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
that thing is epic.
It's just
Isn't there talk of another Elder Scrolls some point? They're always speculating on it, and they give you teasers and they hint things, but you never really know.
I think this is going to be like I think at some point, instead of having like another Elder Scrolls game, it's going to be like Skyrim 2.
That's what I mean. Like, there might be like a legit Skyrim
Oh.
2 at some point.
Oh my, Skyrim 2 coming soon.
Bethesda,
maybe?
if you're listening.
Bethesda. Todd Howard, please.
We're talking to you.
We keep buying Skyrim. Let us have Skyrim 2.
Please. That's it from us. Thank you for tuning in and having a good old time. And thanks for coming in, Zahra.
No worries. Thanks for letting me into the building yet again.
You're welcome. On that note, bye everyone. Bye.
Good evening, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games. If you'd like to listen to more, check out our podcast on Spotify or follow us on social media at ZEDGamesAU. See you next time.